Oh, this is a mighty warm welcome to everyone on the stream, to be honest, and of course, all the folks out there on the grid. Back at you to a new season, Tuesday night racing, TVT Championship, and who couldn't be more happier? I mean, out of everything and how to even start the season off, we're gonna hit it with a Kyalami race day. Now I've got to be bluntly honest, I haven't seen a Kyalami race in quite some time. Again, these boys are busy with their warm-up laps at the well, out lap to be fair. Going to set their qualifying time, so they've got about a 10-minute qualifying session on a Kyalami track, give or take about 27 degrees mid-afternoon. It's a late evening here for me, probably a very late evening for most of the sim racers. So again, the grid is spectacularly full. I'm currently just looking at Mare driving the new Ferrari that has recently been handed out, again in car 888. He's on his out lap as well. Gotta find a few individuals that is probably near the vicinity of doing their laps. That is Wilfred Robson driving for Team LNR Season 1, also in the Ferrari. So it looks like we have quite a bit of Ferraris on the track, the most favorable car to be selected. And then of course I see quite a few Aston Martins here and there by the individuals. So in all fairness, it kind of looks like an Aston Martin versus Ferrari championship. Of course, a few minor BMWs here. And I'm just going to find the odd ones out there. There's a Mercedes by Wilford. Thankfully, we have someone else driving another car apart from the norm that you have practically seen. Again, another Ferrari on the track. And again, another Ferrari. It's the Ferrari madness. To those on the stream, welcome to our session. This is probably going to be an epic championship. Again, in all fairness, lots of teams to be mentioned and noted. So I've got LTR, who has driven quite a few championships with the LNR family. Of course, a few LNR boys here and there, so you will certainly see them. See Mooney on the other hand, he seems to be with Team Slagroom in a Porsche. Again, this is the new Porsche. Thankfully, there's a Porsche on the track as well. And then, of course, Robert Wood here with the Sky Racing. So there's a few very familiar names that I have seen, and then, of course, a large amount of unfamiliar names. The grid size at the present moment this evening is a 39 car track. So I'm gonna do my absolute best to try and get the best of the best of the best for you boys. Boys are putting it out there at the moment. B Nell is the man that has placed it on pole position with a 41.5. He is being hunted and chased down by his fellow team there, or fellow racing driver. Again, these boys know each other very well. Is straight on. Also taking on the Ferrari. So again, Ferrari being the favorite out of the bunch. We have Jake Schooler there in fourth. H. van Beek in his Aston Martin with the VXR Viper. And in all fairness, that is beautiful though. Liveries is out of this world. Like, it's gonna be epically hard to find a livery that I would go, that is it this evening. Usually I would tend to go towards the PWSR liveries, which was always an eye catcher for me. I think still today it's an eye catcher for me, and it's not because I'm making a favoritism comments over there. I do love the liveries those boys pull out, so I hope to catch them on the stream as well. I don't see them at the moment by name, but most certainly will get them. Finley, the man that is out qualified V-Null at the moment. 4 minutes left of the qualifying session. So top 5 at this stage is Finley, Null, Strydom, Van Wyk and Schooler, closely followed by Bauer. Now Bauer to me is a very familiar name. Bauer is the man that has, I think, taken the GT4 championship by storm. For those that haven't watched it, go back onto our streaming channels. We had a short interim GT4 races, and F. Bauer was one of those boys that was always there in the top 5 front grid. I actually need to go and check whether he has won the championship. Wilson is also in there with his Aston Martin. And then we've got Jay Navalny in 8th place with a Porsche representing Team LTR. Idebrie, Marais, Loreno, Bullion, Robson. Revelation is the new name to me. Having a Lamborghini. Again, this is probably the new Lamborghini out on ACC. Some say it is fabulous. Some say it is gorgeous. All my eyes has got on the moment is that livery. That is actually quite nice. Is that an LNR livery? Does look good though. Does look spectacularly good. So, with 3 minutes on the clock, let's see if we can figure out where we stand. So nothing much has changed from the top side 5 point of view. Schooler has made a bit of headway. Marais has gone up the slots as well. Null has gone down about a few positions. So let's see if I can grab someone that is going to make a bit of headway. Everyone is in and around the same parameters of the 41 mark range, which looks phenomenally quick though. So your top 10 is in the low to mid-high 41 range on the qualifying sessions, and then everyone starts to filter off by the 42s. Of course, this is R. Heineke here in 10th place doing his 42, and he's not going to improve on this lap. I have an R. Strydom, S. Strydom here in 7th place, currently up by 3/10 of his overall best. Put it up to about 5/10 up here at Leukop, coming around the bend. Now that does look smooth. That is a corner that will make you lose sometime as he heads down all the way to Crocodile. And again, this is probably about the only track that I know all the corners, so if I do get it wrong, it's only because I am overwhelmed by the numbers of drivers this evening. We're going to try and figure out, he is still up by 6/10. If he puts this down on a qualifying, this is going to be a subpar 140. Can he pull it off? That is it. Wow. A 140.9 on the blocks with that Ferrari. He definitely pulled out all stops to make that count. Now, in all fairness, Null is not far away. He's improved on his time as well. So Strydom's up there. Null is up there. Van Dijk or Findlay, Van Wyk is all in the pits. They have decided not to continue on. So that is a 3rd and 4th place for them. Anyone else in Delta? Loreno, currently the man coming out of Leukop, going down Mineshaft. Ah, there we go. Mineshaft, not Crocodile. Ooh, going crazy. Heading into Assetto. So he's doing quite a substantial improvement on his time. Currently at about 7/10. Just needs to get Cheetah and the final corner sorted. Hopefully doesn't lose too much time severely. The nerves doesn't get to him. All look stable at this moment, so that's a 7/10 increase. Where's this going to slot him? Back into the P10 range. So top 10 for him. Anyone else that's going to do a final stab at getting into the numbers here? Again, I have to filter through quite a bit of information. Steenkamp, Pullen, Robertswood has decided not to do any qualifying. Apart from that, straight home again, up by 3 tenths. He's definitely going to go out and improve on his time. That's going to be a 1:46, almost half a second quicker than V Null. On the other hand, V Null is also up on his time. This is a battle for pole place. Is he going to snatch it away? No, he just doesn't. That is severely close between those boys. Aston Martin versus Ferrari. I reckon down the straights at the starting grid, that Aston is going to struggle to sit side by side by the Ferrari. And a fantastic mix to see it. So let's just see if I can get the grid up. All the times there for everyone to view. Straydom, Null, Findlay, Van Beek, Bullion, Marais, Schooler, Bauer, Loureiro and Greening closing off the top 10. And of course, all the way bottom down, I'm going to try and get these boys in there. Naval, Revelation, Robson, Buerta, Wilson. Ooh, that is subsequently stopped on me. I'll see if I can get there. So we've got him Wilson, Heineke, Dupree, Young with his Aston Martin, Mawa, Bullion, LaRue, and of course, hey, no, don't do that. Bullion in 20th position. I have to redo this all the time, so apologies that I do this to everyone every single time. Then of course, LaRue in 21, Luck in 22, Sabata, Hall, Van der Sant, Van Zyl, Van der Berg, Mouton, Wilson, Mooney, Herzeg, Cordier, Bekus, Alice, Aesop, Montagnani, Wilfred, Robert Wood, Pullen and Steenkamp. This is a 40 car grid this evening. These boys have got 1 minute to get their ducks in a row, setups ready and sorted. I'm gonna go and have a look and just make sure that everything on my end is my ducks is all in a row. And it might just be dauntingly interesting going forth. For those boys on the tube channel, they're gonna have got 45 minutes just to say hi. Kaylin, hey there, Paul, Robin, Jacques, Alan. I don't see you in your racetrack. You're probably taking a break. Probably a good thing. We'll miss you, bud. Maybe see you next time. I still miss your liveries. Hope to see you soon on track. Awesome to race with you. The man that has all the consistency. 21 seconds to go. These boys on a race time. I reckon this is just going to be up there. Now, normally I would have gone through the grid, but I reckon going through the grid of 40 cars is just going to be one hell of a daunting task for me. I would go with, you know what, I'm good, but I'm not that good. I mean, my keyboard strokes is quite slow. The older I get, the slower I go. I only have 2 screens and it stays like this, where I go like, I wish I got like 4. I need probably another 2. One where I can see the telemetry delta above the screens and check where everything goes, and on my left hand side I can actually look at the YouTube channel chats. Ethan there said hello, so back at you Ethan. 40 cars on Kaya is gonna be madness. I would seriously worry about the few corners in itself. Again, when these boys come down the start finish line, they've got Crowthorn to work with, Yuxgay Sweet, which is an animal or a beast in itself, purely because for you to push 2 cars through, Yuxgay Sweep is a skill, and it's not just skill. You need to be aware of the individual on your left or on your right or even in your back rear mirror and have confidence that, again, nothing will occur. Then we're going to follow by Barbecue. As you can see, these boys are currently going through Sunset, a very tricky corner to navigate through, especially in the late afternoons when the sun hits your eye levels. I mean, It's just one of those interesting corners. And of course we've got Clubhouse Bend going through that we call the S's. Now again, 40 car grid. Do we reckon these boys have got enough steel in their kahunas to make this a contactless race? Having said that, again, just seeing the few purple cars here and then, I reckon that's Van Wyk that's driving that car. VXR Viper with the purple-ish car, that just instantly puts me back in my seat, remembering the endurance race that everyone did, and I myself participated this weekend at a fellow community at Raceface. So again, for those boys that want to do some endurance races, do head over to that community. Big ups to them. Again, the purple livery just gives me an instant memory of it. So I'm going to give them a good shout out. Anyone else that wants to do fun races on Monday nights, again, there's Monday night racing. Any individuals that want to do Gran Turismo sport, we do host it on Sunday night. So do come out and join and check out that. The boys are starting a new sim show that's going to kick off a new season very soon. So keep your eyes open and peeled for that. I think that's all the shout outs I have from local community point of view. These boys are all lining up. This is the intense moment as they pass through Cheetah side by side. These fellow cars are going to battle it out through and through. Now, of course, there is a few liveries that I see is not pulling through properly. I did do a livery sync prior to starting it, so I'm hoping we can have that all sorted out next week for the few mishaps here and there. Just waiting for the green light. And off we go. That's where we get the Ferrari versus the Aston Martin coming down the straight. Sean Stratham goes straight in the middle of the track. Two Aston Martins nearly going side by side, almost three. That looks quite clean and interesting. I don't see anything that picks up from an incident point of view. A few contacts made by individuals, but down the line it all looks quite clean and very nice. Again, the telemetry delta will pick it up as we look at the leaders coming down through Sunset. Sean Stratham is going to try and fight it off with three Aston Martins facing in his rear mirror. This is a good start. I'm loving this. Good pick up there. Now, gonna go and try and get a bit to the back of the grid as soon as everything settles in nicely. From an incident point of view, there's definitely a few that has been picked up on our automated system here. But the top four boys has managed to break away from the fight itself. Bauer, on the other hand, he's got a Lamborghini Revelations right behind him. A bit of a gap between those boys. Then of course we've got Laredo, Neville, Robson, Greening and LaRue all picking it up there up until 10th, 9th place. So there's little sections of fight battles going on. There's a big one here at the present moment where we have LaRue fighting it off with Greening. He's in a sandwich between Wilson, then of course Nell Bullion. None of these boys, in all fairness, are slow folks. The cars looks fantastic all over the show, battle everywhere. All I see is Astons running down singular Ferrari boys that has managed to get away from the start. And of course Mooney here at the back with his Porsche. He's got Dupria ahead of him, also in an Aston Martin, but then again Huerta right behind him in a Ferrari. As we head into lap 2, 60 minutes of racing. Mandatory pit stop requirements as per what the system has been set. Now again, with this new tire delta, these boys need to be very cautious on their tire setups unless they are going to plan to do a tire pit change in the middle of the race and take that 30 seconds on. Now that could be mandatory as Mooney goes all over left, right, trying to avoid it. Ooh, that is one LNR boy trying to avoid contact there, and then generated another contact point there. So two boys made contact with one another. They are in sister teams. Bit of frustration. That said, he probably missed the braking mark. I reckon those boys have got a bit of damage, in all fairness, as they continue on. You can see how Dupree's Aston Martin is very unsettled with that. Back to the front of the grid. This is where the action is. Null is on the tail of Stratum. He goes out wide. Is he going to bring it on the outside or do an undercut move? Brings it into the undercut, get it in to Yerkskate. That is a brilliant move. Opens up the door. Fantastic driving. Takes the lead on Yerkskate, doing an undercut move on turn one. Phenomenal drive by now. That puts pressure on Stratum instantaneously, because he now has a Van Wyk, and then of course Finlay. Ooh, please tell me I'm pronouncing that wrong, because I can probably get it so wrong. I'm probably one of those commentators that will get everyone's name horribly wrong, as much as I would try and do it. So if I do get your surname wrong, K9, I humbly apologize. It's just one of those things that I seemingly are not good at. I try and pronounce it as I read it, which is not ideal in most circumstances. But nonetheless, 2 laps down, Nal has managed to create a bit of a gap between himself and Stratum. Stratum doesn't seem very phased about that. He's going to try and sit behind now, ensuring that he doesn't lose enough time, but simultaneously also not allow Van Wyk to make a move on him. As you see, for a rear view being, doesn't Aston have enough legs to make the move count? Aston. While these individuals fight it out, I'm gonna go back to the grid. There's a Ferrari on the sidewalk. He's probably gonna go to the pit. I don't know who that was. Mr. Revelation in the only Lambo here, currently in 6th place. He's got a bit of pressure on his end, as we got Loureiro and Naval, so Team LTR. And then of course Naval, another LTR member, 2 LTR individuals hunting down Revelations. Gotta admit, that Lambo looks absolutely stunning. Don't know where that man got that livery from, but that green Mamba color scheme really is eye-catching. Further down the grid, as we see Naval, Robson, LaRue, Bullion and Greening settling nicely. Greening has got some action around him, also with a Porsche Mooney. Then of course Wilfred, I guess that's Ashley Wilson, because there's always 2 Wilson. There's Anthony Wilson and then Ashley Wilson. So and they're both driving this evening. So this is Ashley Wilson currently in 14. He is hunting down Mooney. I like to go as far back as I can, because again there's action everywhere. Like when you look at it from the map itself, you can see that all these guys are in close proximity to one another. So plenty to fight for this evening. Van der Berg in his BMW. Bit of a battle here between a Ferrari and a Porsche. So it's a Ferrari-Porsche sandwich. followed by Flip Van Zel here in 18th. He's got Lee Bullion there right behind him. In a Ferrari there. Dave Young on the other hand, Aston Martin not far away from Lee. Back, Kalen Mawa in 22nd place. Ooh, there's a decent move there by Mouton. Takes it on the inside, opens the door up for him. It didn't look like Cordier or Cordy. I would go with Cordy. That kind of sounds. I remember a friend that was used to be Cordy. Ellen Hall here on the back end of 30th place. Again, these boys have got plenty to fight for. You can make your way up. Hall is looking for potential locations to make a move there on Pullen, who's also driving a Ferrari. So these are two Ferrari boys having a bit of action. V now, on the other hand, leader of the pack, has managed to set the fastest lap of the race at the moment with a best of a 1:41.2. Created a 2-second gap between himself and Stratum. And Aston Martin seems to be quite OP for this track, because again, we only have one Ferrari in between three Aston Martin. Now it kind of makes sense why the Aston Martin is still very dominant at this track. Quite, I won't say I'm surprised, but it is interesting though. I would have never thought that the Ferrari was the most optimal car at Kyalami. I do recall from many years of racing on ACC, especially on Kyalami, the Porsche and the Audi was the most predominant favorite of this track. I think in the right hands, it will definitely be up there. However, this evening, in a 60-minute race here at LNR, Tuesday night team versus team championship, it's a bit of the opposite. We have Aston Martins leading the front end, being chased down by a Ferrari, and then of course two fellow Aston Martins not far away from that. Bauer on the other hand here in 1st place. He is doing his optimal best to stay with the lead pack cars, but also creating a bit of a gap and a breathing space between himself and of course the revelation Lorero and Naval. So two LTR boys definitely kicking up the notch this evening with their first season start. I really do hope they do well this evening or during the championship, because they do seem like they've got the pace to bring it in. So I'll hold thumbs for Lorero, Naval and those boys to bring up the pace. Again, challenge the championship going forward. And of course, not far behind them is a whole pack of LNR boys. So we've got Robson, LaRue, Bullion, Greening, and then of course Wilson. They are all trying to hunt down a Naval there. Mooney and Karel van den Berg sitting there most comfortably. From an incident point of view, I can assure you there is quite a bit. For a 40-car track, this is a very busy race. To what I've been told, post-race stewarding will take place. I reckon those stewarding team will be busy for the remainder of the week, looking at the number of, I would say, incidents that I have noted. Now there has been a few where there is possible spins and then of course contact, but again, I do hope it's all good and well. Now there's a few names I do miss. I do not see Jay Schooler. I recall that he did qualify, but then not there anymore. So uncertain what has happened to him. Van Dijk, on the other hand, he has gained more on Straydom. Straydom struggling a bit. There is a few backpack drivers there getting out of the way. Again, fantastic driving there, sensed by the back markers, leaving the boys to do their fight. Straydom is under a bit of pressure. So, on the chat it's gone very quiet, and I reckon it has because I have a feeling that most of those boys that vented on the chat and had me entertained not so long ago are on the grid racing, very focused and zoned. So, championship this season. There's quite a few races set it up, and in all honesty, I don't even know what do we have. Kyalami for the first race is a really good choice. Next week we'll be hosting Nürburgring, which is a track that I haven't seen anyone driven in for a while, followed by Laguna Seca with 40 cars on that track. Oof, epic madness. Valencia round 4, Zandvoort around 5, and then closing it off with a Silverstone track. So a few goodies, a few new surprises, a few interesting selections. I mean, Laguna, I can think of a few other tracks that are far better than a Laguna Seca. Or not 100% sure that is a wise choice though. I'll leave it for the individuals that do drive it and do like it to tell me what they think. Honestly, I would call it a bit of a questionable decision. So let's just see who has made up good space. So from a qualifying standpoint, the individuals that have made up quite a substantial amount of places based on their grid positions from a qualifying standpoint is 1 year LaRue for the VX Cobra boys. He has gained 11th positions from his starting grid. So where he is at the moment is intense. So you can imagine this man has filtered through quite a few cars from 21st position all the way to 10th. He is on the back end of that Ferrari, which is Robson. Oh, then we've got a squeeze there. Bullion making a move on the inside. Digging it out there now. That is not what LaRue would have wanted. I reckon that was just a slight fumble on LaRue's end. Was caught off guard by the Ferrari's braking position and subsequently lost its time, but he is fighting back though. He's not going to let Nel Bullion get that position just free of charge. Nail trying to cover all kinds of lines, ensuring that he does maintain the position. That did open the gap a bit for Robson. Bit of a breathing space. Of course, these boys are going to continue the battle going forth. LaRue and Bullion on its benchmark. The Revelations there is still fighting it out with Lorero. Now that does look like he is hunting down Bauer. Lorero made a bit of a fumble there. Coming out of the last corner, lost a bit of time. And Lambo is definitely on the hunt. He's going to stick it on the inside, going through the corner one. No, still plays it safe, which is good. You got to set up your passing maneuver. Coming down the start-finish line, it does seem like both the Ferrari and the Lambo have pretty much equal speed between the two. Not much has moved between the top 5. Hannes is still there, so I am keeping an eye out on him. These boys, on the other hand, are fighting it out. William has managed to create a bit of a gap here. Now there is a train here after Van der Berg with luck in the Porsche Motorsport. Flip van Zyl, Lee Bullion and Dave Young, followed by Andries de Pre in 20th position, and he's at 4 seconds adrift from this pack. These guys are battling it out for top 15 position. It's always good to get that off your chest. If there's a target you need to meet, it's always one of those. I want to be top 20, I want to be top 15, I at least want to be top 10. Those are your benchmark numbers that people work with. When I say people, I would probably say that's me. When I start a race where I qualified, I go, that's my benchmark. I need to do the best I can to get in within that preliminary, that finishing spot, the top 10, top 15, top 20. These boys are fighting it hard for that top 15 spot. Gives you a great start for the season, working its way through. Now track conditions has warmed up a little. I don't think it's gonna have that much of an effect as we see down the straight. Van Zyl looking on the inside there with luck. Luck has not covered the inside line. He is going to leave him a bit of leg room. Now that's going to squeeze Van Zyl out. Van Zyl chose not to be overly aggressive. I reckon he could have put it down there if he just stuck his nose in a bit more. Showed some aggression. That opens up the door there for Lee Bullion to be on the rear end there of Van Zyl. Again, it depends on how you want to drive through it, but I still reckon a bit of a balls to the wall kind of approach would have been slightly ideal. Again, mucho respect for the drivers choosing not to. Yeah, it's a long race, long 60-minute race. It's how you finish and end with it, that is where it counts. Quite a few. Incidents here and there. As we almost at the halfway mark, this gives me a bit of a time just to go back and see who has made any good chats. Anders van der Sand, he is bummed. His PC crashed. Hope it didn't cause any incident. Manus, I don't know. Could be one of those things, ball game, that it does suck. Terminal car failure. Oh, that's just one of those fundamental things that do occur that you do not want. Catastrophic failures. Back to the front of the grid. Strydom and Van Wyk, on the other hand, they are still within a second of each other. The gap between him and Nel is close to 5 seconds at this moment. So Nel can take it easy and just manage his tires all the way through. Findlay, on the other hand, in 4th place, has dropped a bit by about 5 seconds. But then again, he is sitting comfortably. He just needs to manage the race as it goes on from here. Back of him is still a continuous battle here between Bauer, Revelations, Loureiro. Naval dropped about 2 seconds there, so the Porsche went out. Ooh, that was Loureiro just sticking out his nose, avoiding contact there on the final corner. Great awareness driving there by him, but that has dropped him a bit further away as to where he did not want to be. It does look like Loureiro's got the pace this evening. He looks far more comfortable in the Ferrari than what he has in previous cars he's driven for. The livery there though is absolutely stunning. I love the whole light blue kind of theme approach there with this Ferrari. There is, however, one thing I do not like, and again, I think a lot of people might agree with me and might not agree with me. So, food for thought. I love the Ferrari, in all fairness. It looks beautiful, in all seriousness. That front end is absolutely gorgeous. That rear end, however, is the ugliest thing I have ever seen, like, on that car. In all fairness, that rear end to me looks like the old Ford GT rear end. It's like they designed the whole car back to front, or front to back, and then came to the rear end and then went like, well, what do we do? And sticky plastered it with a GT4, GT40 look, feel there. It just doesn't belong there. I just don't like it at all. I mean, again, contrary to popular belief, people are probably going to slam me about that, but I can't. I just cannot. That just looks like a GT40 rear end to me. On a Ferrari, doesn't belong there. They could have done something better than that. Halfway mark, fun bike. Still within a few seconds there ahead. I'm gonna go a bit to the back of the grid, see if there's some action here. Anthony Wilson for the other LNR team. Him and Dylan Hall for LTRC fighting it out here for, again, this is what I call the top 25 position spot, and one of those favorite benchmarkers you want as we look at all going into the pit stop. Now I reckon he's going to try and do an undercut there for Wilson. A few boys have jumped into the pit, so Pullen, Young and all those individuals. Then the top drivers still hasn't made their move. This is a pit window of a few minutes, so these boys have some time to do their pit stops. It is limited on the time that is allowed within the valid settings. Back to where Robson is with LaRue and the brother of Anthony Wilson, fighting it out here for the top 10, 9th position. Stunning looking liveries across the board. Again, the purple just makes the thick of raceways community. The orange and blue and the orange and white and black is of course the mixed colors of the LNR team, which I think the boys are still finding their feet. I reckon going forth this blue, navy blue slash heavy orange is going to be the favorable color going forth. And of course, with the golden rims, this is one of those key standpoints that seems to be filtering across cars. But I reckon we're still gonna figure out what needs to happen. Everyone likes their own thing. Some do like it. Ooh, as Robson makes a big mistake there, opens up the door for Wilson, who capitalizes on both the minor errors that those two boys have done. So I'm just gonna go back and see what is that all about? That was just such a weird move. Back into that. So again, LaRue coming out the first corner. Up. Nothing wrong there. How does he lose? Ooh, he outbrakes himself. Robson avoids it, and then Ashley Wilson capitalizes on both drivers' mistakes, takes 2 positions out of one corner. That is phenomenal. Great awareness by him to capitalize on that. Various individuals have pitted. I don't see any new ones in the pits at this stage. Bauer, they are still going at it between himself and Revelation. Lambo versus Ferrari. These boys have been at it since the start of the race. Of course, Revelation has gained 6 positions from the start. Since then, he's been rock solid. Looking for an opportunity and a gap to get it all done and dusted. Pit window still 8 minutes open. Gives these boys a bit of time to do what they need to do. Robson, Mawa in the pits. Of course, Bueta, Mouton. You see all the green bars popping up here and there. That identifies that the individual has gone to the pit stops, did and apply his mandatory requirements to then come out and race some more. Again, 60 minutes of racing. Anything goes, points all across. I think if we're going to do such a big grid, we're going to have to figure it out going forward how to split it up. Although I do like the idea of a 40-car grid, no real split between a pro class and a pro-am class, and the good versus the bad. At the end of the day, this is all team versus team championships, and for those who don't know how it normally works, at LNR we kind of do the approach that you pick a driver to drive with you, you subsequently call yourself a team, and then at the end of the day, it's not the driver that wins the championship, it is the team that wins the championship, which makes it quite interesting, because you could be paired up with an individual that is rapidly fast or rapidly quick or slow or doesn't get it right, or things can go wrong during the championship. It is how you build that relationship, momentum, and then work it through the championship to get that final position. So you might be the fastest driver on the grid, but the individuals that do work together, stick it out, and focus on the combined results at the end of the race, those are the ones that tend to pull out a W at the end of these championships. This is what we call the TVT mentality. Always done it. We've done this approach since 2017, so it's been years now. And to be honest, still love the format. It is just something completely different. As we have no bullion there. I think that is a lap car, so little blue flags being waved there, going on the outside to pass him, Porsche giving him substantial amount of space. Back to Flip Van Zyl. He is chasing down Van den Berg, who I would believe is driving for Base Motorsport. So this would be the teammate of his fellow driver here at the back. We are Base, Kalen Mauer. I reckon these two are definitely in a team if that is the format we're doing this series. Now Paul's going to listen to the stream afterwards and then give me his 5 cents of no, it's not that, yes it is this, yes you are wrong, and no you are right, or that kind of approach. So please don't take everything I say about the championship as true. I've literally just popped up and streaming, and this is what I want to see. I love watching races like this, how people drive, what they do from here, and where do they go. In all fairness, top 6 boys still haven't pitted. They got 4 minutes left to do their pit stop. A bit of an incident here and there. Bullen, Aesop. Ooh. I'm wondering what has happened there. Let's see if we can just go back and review what has happened. So that is Aesop making a big fumble there with Cheetah. So does the fellow Ferrari. Oh, and they missed each other. That is so close. And another one. 3 boys making a big mistake at Cheetah. Unbelievable. And they all still managed to miss each other off the track. Spectacular drives there. I mean, I have no idea how they even did that. Superb. Shocking, but superb. Luckier, under a bit of pressure there by Greening. These boys have quitted, so everything has subsequently changed a bit. Top 6 boys haven't pitted yet. They have got probably this lap to go. Stradom has been in the pits, so Stradom is in and out. Now it all depends on what the outlap is versus him and Van Dijk. I'm going to keep an eye out on that, because that is certainly going to be quite interesting. So it is with Revelations and Neville now. Sorry, Revelations and Bauer, who's been battling it out for quite a bit of this race. I reckon now the leader of the race will definitely get into the pit now. To go out another lap that's going to be very questionable. It can be done, in all fairness. Like, we are looking at the 140s per lap, but I reckon on a safety point of view, he is in. That is true. Van Dijk makes a big fumble there at Cheetah. Now that's not going to be a happy thing for him. He's certainly going to lose a bit of time there. I don't know how much that's going to affect him, knowing that Stradom was ahead of him. I reckon he would have wanted to get that cleaner as everyone pops into pit stops. Those that haven't is definitely coming in now. This is Stradom. He's going into Cheetah much smoother than what Van Dijk did. Van Dijk, on the other hand, is jacked off. Ooh, that sounds awful. I didn't say that. Coming out of the pits. Ah, no, where did I go? Where did I go? Stradom down the pits. How close is this? No, he's definitely got a bit of a gap between himself. So the undercut for Stradom worked in his favor. I reckon it might have been much closer if Van Dijk didn't misjudge Cheetah that much, that threw him off the track. But on the other hand, that gap that was 5 seconds is marginally a lot closer between Nel and Stradom. So even though Nel was 5 seconds ahead of Stradom prior to the pit stop, he is now within a second of each other. Let's just go look at what the time was on pits, because that will tell me a lot more. Yes, so the pit time is what it counts. Now this is where individuals lie. And again, I'm going to quote the man because he made the rule. Pit stops is where you win and lose a race. That comes from good old man, Mr. A. Patterson from PWSR. He is a fond believer that you've got to practice your pit stop, because this is where you lose a lot of time. Stradom seems to be on point with his pit time versus now. And there is definitely a 5-second difference between the two, which explains why they are where they are. Pit stops is ideally the crucial thing that can and win a race. So as everyone settles in, a few minor changes has occurred. So it looks like Bauer has managed to pass Findlay through the pit stops as well. So did Findlay have a long pit stop? Yes, Findlay did have a longer pit stop than Bauer. That's a good 9 seconds difference between those two. This is where small things count. So Findlay has lost a position, Bauer has gained a position, Revelations has lost a bit of time. Oh, Lerero off the track. That's going to lose a few positions to him, because that looks like Wilson and LaRue taking that position. So Laredo managed to gain time, but lost it there coming out of that corner. Open the door for these two boys. Continue on. This battle looks definitely very interesting. Where we at? Neville, Robson, Van der Berg, Mooney. He's being hunted down by Van Sale. Now that looks like an Irish flag there. Yep, that is the Irish flag. Mooney. Stunning livery there. He is under a bit of pressure by Fatsal and Mawa. Further down, we've lost 5 cars. Hertek in P35. Now Hertek, I haven't mentioned at all. Big ups to him for making sure that he can finish the race. He's going to get a lot of blue flags though. Esop on the other hand is in position 34. The Bart are here with his BMW in 33rd place. Steenkamp also in a Ferrari in 32. Biekus 31, and then of course R. Heineke in a Porsche in 30. So that is the boys in 30th and above. Mare on the other hand, making a move there on that Cordier and Mare fighting it out. Neither one wants to give up that position. Ooh, that is always so scary. 2 cars down there in mind through that. It's never the best idea to do that. Like going through mineshaft 2 cars wide into crocodiles is not something I would recommend anyone doing. However, these 2 boys managed to brave it up and just smash it through. But they really wanted that position. Cordier didn't want to give it up. Sal and Mooney fighting it out, the Mercedes moving out of the way. Now that is Wilford allowing the individuals to do what they need to do. A great driving etiquette by him. Caleb Mauer is going to do the same. Wilson and LaRue battling it out here. Stradom slowly closing the gap between himself and Null. Now this is where we head into the final hour. This is where tire management probably is going to kick in. Now, before I talk about tire management, let's just make sure I have all the facts. So, the configuration for this evening at Kyalami is definitely a mandatory stop with mandatory refueling. So, tire management is of key this evening. That kind of makes sense where there is a bit of a vast differences on the pit stop strategy. Some would have taken more fuel than others, although I would have expected most individuals doing a full fuel setup and putting at least 1 or 2 liters in at your pistols, make it a quick stop and drop approach. But the new tire management system in ACC is what counts. Final few minutes of a race will tell you and indicate whether you have overused your tires, scrubbed it too much, therefore less grip. I think from the Aston standpoint, that car is very lenient towards its tires. I am uncertain of what the Ferrari can do. Would love to know what the boys can do on tire management with the Ferrari. So anyone that has driven the Ferrari, what is your opinion about it in fairness? Is the Ferrari or the new Porsche or even the new Lambo, what is their tire management on track at this stage? I've driven the Aston Martin this weekend. Gotta be honest, it was Imola, but I think a good 70-minute stint on Imola with the tires itself. Yes, the rear end got a bit sketchy here and there, did make me feel that I'd lost a bit of grip in certain high-speed corners, but it wasn't something where I could have said, yes, I'm losing time. So that's the big question. That's the word on the street. Tire management is key. That will tell you whether you win or lose time based on times these boys are doing at this moment. Again, 142 deads tells me that there isn't really an issue with any of those numbers. They are pretty much on point with one another. So, in fairness, I think it's equal. It looks equally balanced from my standpoint. Okay, so back to the chat. Last I got was Hannes was bummed out that his PC went off. Alan Patterson agreeing that's a tough one. Hannes going, he's in a team with Kale. Okay, that makes sense. So Hannes and Kale is in a team. That begs the question, who would be Kalen's teammate then? We'll have to figure it out then. See how that goes. Paul already talking about tequila punishments. Frankie, thanks, Hannes. Frankie is Pace's teammate. Hannes keeping me honest here with Team Pace Motorsports. In a sim racing team that's been ongoing probably as long as what Logistical Nightmare has been going. So, great team, boys. Great. Fantastic, man. That's all I can say. They are really a good bunch of oaks. I think everyone is, in all fairness. I can't say anything bad about any team, community, sim racer, whatsoever. Yes, to be honest, I might not be that kind and friendly when I'm behind the wheel, but then again, we are competitive. We have that sportsmanship mentality on us. It literally feels like you have your helmet on, and all that is you is just in front of you, and anyone that is around you that is stopping you from gaining your position is your enemy. So, yes, that is true. That is pretty much how everyone is. Now, there are the odd few that have better calming nerves than anything else. They potentially take some medicine to do so. However, once that green light's on, it is tough competition all the way through. Portier here. Portier. I'm gonna go with Portier. And I'm only saying that, and I'll go back on. Ooh, Andries Dupree, drive through. The first man that gets a drive-through penalty. That is truck cut drive-through as opposed to imposed. So Cordier is being hunted down. Buerta has made a mistake. Now he's losing more positions on that. Two Ferraris. Ooh, one of those. He is burning these tires. Those tires would be piping hot at this moment. He needs to cool them down, because it's not going to go well for him unless he gets those tires cooled down properly. Dupree in the pits. It says DT, he's just gone and sat in the pits. Wilson, where the competition is, him and LaRue from VX Cobra, still battling out. Now, there was a point where Wilson was ahead of LaRue. That was only because LaRue made a tiny fumble coming out of barbecue. Now, he's certainly not going to make that mistake again. That was just a tiny error. Ooh, as Wilson wants to stick his nose in there, needs to force the man to make a mistake. LaRue, on the other hand, looks as if he's not phased at all, giving the toughest work for Wilson to try and find the gap. Based on that driving, it gives you the feeling that Wilson feels that he is the quicker individual as opposed to LaRue. This is where you try and outsmart your competitor ahead of you, make him make a mistake. However, it's easier said than done. For a 60-minute race, there is still so many battles everywhere on track. Some individuals are within a few seconds of each other, which means they wouldn't see one another. As you can see, this bunch over here for 13, 14, 15, 16, and maybe 17. So that's all the way from Mooney, Funzel, Mawa, Bullion, and Greening. They can see each other, but they just don't have that special ability to get the time more down to close the gap. Now, Nell Bullion, on the other hand, is flying at the moment. He's lost, was a 142.7, marginally quicker than Kalen Mawa. So this is gonna be tight very soon, and I'll keep an eye out as to how that develops. Back to the front of the grid. Of course, these two boys are battling it out just on fastest lap. This is one of those I am faster than you approach. V now just improving on his fastest lap that he had previously. Smashed it down with a 141.1. Of course, he is quicker in Sector 1 and Sector 3 as opposed to the Ferrari, which is driven by Sean Stradham, car 394, in Sector 2. So they are within a few hundreds of each other. These boys are really pushing the envelope this evening. Unstoppable from start to finish. Stradham, of course, led the pack at the beginning of the race. Didn't hold that position for much longer. V now, so Vincent now car 95, made a brave but fantastic move at Crowthorne with an undercut pass into Yuxke, and then from there on dominated the race. I reckon this is going to be a big challenge to regain some of the championships he has won at Logistical Nightmare. Again, he's not a stranger for a man that is leading ahead of the races here at LNR. To me, it's all about seeing these new faces here again. Loving the brilliant liveries and of course the support from the LT boys. Again, when we go LT, we go the LTR, the gentleman across. Who also, again, with Hall, that's a community I didn't talk about. So again, I have been going on this whole evening about Race Face and Monday Night Racing, and of course our GT Sport series we are hosting on Sunday nights. Mr. Dylan Hall here, aka the man from Sarko, they are hosting a Thursday night race. I think it's Thursday night. It could be horribly wrong if it's not. Also ACC on their radar, but simultaneously I do believe they also did some console racing. So again, pick up some big support for that community itself. If you guys ever want to do anything other whenever you have the time. I still feel like I'm the only one that proudly goes out and sends everyone to sim race everywhere else. But you know what? Sim racing, I love it, you love it, you're watching me, you are actually listening. The fact that you are listening is astounding. Like, I hardly even know what I say and what I say. Okay, so Anna's correcting me wrong. So Kaylin is with Checo from Pace Motorsport. Frankie is with Ryan. Okay. Less than 10 minutes of racing left. Look here at the back of the pack that has now become a three-man battle. Flip Pancel, Nel Bullion and Nooney. Here's another battle brewing it out as well. Of course, Nel Bullion has made a move on Galen Mawa. He is now hunting down Flip Pancel. Oh, there we go. It felt a bit weird. Just ahead of him is Mooney, so these boys are battling it out quite soon. As I said before, Al seems to be the quicker man in between the batch here. Don't know what actually happened with him to fall as far back as he did. I think from, let's just see, race start, first position. Yeah, he's gone down 10 spots, so must have had an incident that has caused that. Finley, ooh, that is not what we want to see. That is definitely not going to be nice. Finley made a big tumble there. He was comfortable in 6th place. What has happened? Hopefully I do catch it. Comes out. It's into barbecue. Oh, slips on the grass straight into the wall. That is big damage for that man. He is going to lose quite a bit of spots there because now he's got everyone that is on his rear end that will have more pace than him. I do hope. He's got 5 minutes left. He is definitely, ooh no, goes off the track. The damage is causing him to lose plenty of positions. He still wants to fight it out. Going to the pit stop now is going to cost you so much time. And what we generally have is another 3 laps. So the question is, does Finley have enough in him to hold off 3 laps? He's got a good 6-second gap between himself and Laredo. So sometimes you can manage your car through. It does depend on how much damage there is. But these boys are still battling it out. Neville has made a move. Wilson looks on the inside. Is he close enough to stick it in there? He is going to stick it into him next to it. That is it. Side by side, they go through T1. Oh, a bit of contact made there. More contact made. And that could have been based on someone outbraking themselves versus not giving enough space. Didn't see the full details of that. Can go back a few seconds just to see how that has evolved. That was actually quite exciting. Oh yeah, to me that kind of looks like a bit of both worlds. So one, the individual went a bit too deep, but two, the other individual closing the door a bit on Wilson. I think if Wilson hugged that corner a bit more, they might have made it through side by side, but then the opposite could be said, that LaRue could have given him more space. Tough call. Still think a good racing incident there. It's about the only one that I've picked up during the course of the race. These boys are still fighting it out. Finley looking to be on pace again with that damaged car. Seemed to have found a magic touch, knowing that even though he's got a bit of damage, he can fend off all the drivers behind him. 3 minutes of racing left. Now that to me sounds like another 2 laps in general, depending on where the leader is. Yeah, it will definitely be this lap, and then of course following that thereafter. Big battles is here, where these guys are fighting for 6th spot. of a blue flag there. BMW need to get out of the way. Can't hold these boys up. Goes deep, opens the door up for them to take the inside line. The question is he going to allow for 3 guys to make a move on him? This is going to get dangerous. It's just one of those do you, don't you moments. Wilson making a position on Findlay. And that was due to 3 cars trying to go through one corner. It's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. Mouton versus Hall. LTR on LTR. Reckon we are into the final lap of the race, going back to the leader. This was a daunting task, and I'm going to close this off by just indicating that, you know what, a 40 car grid on any given race track is a lot to cover. It is just so much. I hope I've given everyone as much screen time as I would have thought. Again, focal point for me always is to find where the races are, those that are fighting it out. That's where the competition is. But you and I both know Kyalami is a track whereby passing is the most difficult thing to do. Unless your opponent makes a mistake, you capitalize on him. Doing general good lap times is the toughest thing to do. Even down the straight start finish line. Final few corners here for now. I reckon this is gonna be the end of it. As he makes his final turn, coming down the start finish line, taking the checkered flag in first place, hunted down by Stratum. Van Wyk, who had a phenomenal race, capturing the final podium position. And he had such a blast of the race. Bauer, on the other hand, the man that has just persevered and closing it off in 4th place. A brilliant drive by him. He managed to stay away from Revelations, who has fought it out through most of the race. 5th place for him. No harm in that at all. Neville, on the other hand, Team LTR bringing it in for 6th place in the Porsche, the only Porsche in the top 10. Hunted down by LaRue, then of course Wilson, and then Findlay. Loureiro closing it off in the top 10. What a drive, what a drive. Everyone hunting to the pits. You'll find some drivers that are on the track still. Heineke coming through in 21st. Didn't manage to showcase also. Let's just see if we can find the times. These are your final times all the way through from 1 to 24. And then we've got the final numbers here at the bottom, taking the W. Nel, Stratum, Revelations, Neville. Oh wait, that doesn't look right. Some things have changed, so people have left already. Garage, timetables, right. There we go, that's much better. Now, Stratum, Van Wyk, Bauer, Revelation, Neville, LaRue, Wilson, Findlay, Loureiro. Phenomenal drive. This was the first race after a long break and, of course, a GT4 mid-break championship. To everyone on the stream, I humbly bow down to you and say thank you for your support. Again, couple of things to note as I've been talking so much around and across the globe. Do not be shy and go support the other communities that I've mentioned. Next week, of course, we are going to kick it off with round 2, which will be at the Nürburgring. Same time, same place on the stream. To everyone out there, good night, God bless, goodbye.